got that? So we promised them good innovative growth. Everyone says, well done. And they go, now what do we do? Okay? And what we did was use this technique both to scope the project and to put the business case together. Okay? And it took 15 minutes. So what I did was I gave them a piece of paper, which you are going to get. And that piece of paper has magic things written on it. It has... Just take one and pass it around. Great. Take one and pass it around. Great. Okay. So it has in the middle here something called a gap. The gap is the difference between where you are and where you'd like to be, written as a sentence. Okay? For everything I do, bullet points are banned. I never let people work with bullet points. You know why? Because they're too easy to misinterpret. I mean, projects are hard enough. But if I put bullet speed, you don't know whether I mean more speed, less speed. And then I might think more speed, but 2 weeks later I've forgotten what I meant. So always write in sentences. Yeah? So a gap is the difference between where you are and where you'd like to be. Then the other next funny bit is what happens if we don't fix it? Now, in the old world, we assumed that we were on a track, i.e., if we do nothing, it's a safe option. But in the new world, tell me, if you do nothing, is it a safe option? No. So what we want to explore is what the impacts of doing nothing are. Then we want to understand what the impacts of trying to do something are. And then the intriguing bit is, well, if it's such a great idea, why haven't we done it yet? What's missing? So I handed out Post-its to the executives. I gave them one each. And I said, please write down on a Post-it what you think this goal is. And we captured them all. And we ended up with something which said, our level of innovation is too low. That was the sentence. That's the gap. Then they got another Post-it. Are you following the process I'm going through? If I'm going too fast, tell me. Okay? And they got one Post-it each. And I said, so tell me, what happens if we don't fix it? Scribble it down. They gave it to me. And they said things like, oh, our profits will fall, competitive products will look better than us, we'll continue to have few new products in the market, we'll get bought out, and sales will completely collapse. Terrible, I said. Okay, great. And I shuffled them around so that they look like a story. So now it looks like a story. Our level of innovation is too low. If we don't fix it, we'll continue to have few new products in the market. Competitor products will look better, our sales will decline, but profits will fall, and we'll get bought up, or we'll have to split up the business and sell off the American arm. And don't worry about it. Okay, what happens if it's fixed? Same process again. You know, we'll have products people want to buy, customer sat will go up, people divert from day-to-day business, etc. You got that? So in about 5 minutes, I'd got all the headliners on what's going to happen in the future. So the next interesting thing was, well, if that's the case, why haven't you fixed it yet? And you get a whole plethora of stuff. But this is your project scope. There's something there about culture, stopping people being scared of failure. There's something there about getting the senior sponsors to stop misbehaving. There's something about guiding people to where they should try and look and how you actually supply the capabilities. That's the scope and scale of the project. So we're now 12 minutes in. We've scoped the project. Am I being too... Okay. Not in detail, obviously, but do you see what I mean? We've got the building blocks. Everyone happy with that? Okay, then the next question is, okay, let's look at the money. Let's quantify it. So for each Post-it, you try and put money or numbers on it. So for example, here it says, our marketing budget will be overspent. How much? 10%. Okay, great. And then you go and gather the numbers together, if you can get hold of them. And what we found was, if we didn't do anything, we're going to lose minus 119 over a year. If we did, we'd lose about 8.5 over a year. This number here is very important. It's called the value at stake. And that's the real number you want for your business case. So then the question is, if we're saying there's 110 million in the middle there, how much are we going to spend to fix it? And you can actually then cost each of these sub-projects here, and that will tell you your business case. 15 minutes, you should be done. Admittedly, you then have 2 days to turn it all into a nice document. I'm joking. Can you remember the steps I took you through? Is it practical enough? Can you use it? This is what we mean about moving at speed. Yeah? So if you have to replan a project halfway through because something has changed, you can replan it. It's not a nightmare. You can send your project managers off to go and replan it. It's not a nightmare. But if you have those big things which take 20 days to put together, you'll never replan it. You'll just fudge it and carry on working. Everyone does that. We're all human beings. Keep going? Good. Okay, so that was really what I wanted to do around that particular area. The next thing I wanted to take you through is just looking a little bit at this organization piece. And the stories I'm going to tell you around there are two stories. One is around really changing, but not really changing, and a little model. I'll draw it. It's easier if I draw it than if I use PowerPoints. I want you to imagine that something's happened, good or bad, I don't know, but you're no longer working for HBOS. In fact, now you have to work for yourself and your family is relying on you. There is no way out. I mean, if you get it wrong, they're going to starve. Your kids, everyone's going to be miserable. You got it? You feeling the pressure? Great. So now you have to try and plan your day, really, to stay alive and to eat. And you're setting up a little sort of business or some sort to make that happen. How are you going to spend your time on the clock? How are you going to spend your time? You could profit some service or some product, I don't know, but how are you going to spend your time? Selling? So there's one here which you've got to go and sell. Okay, so you sold it. Okay, now what do you have to do? You've got to make it. Okay, I'll put that next to selling. I'll put that next to here. Yeah, you got to, yes, the finance stuff. Count the money, send out the bills. What else? Yeah, you've got to plan it. You've got to coordinate it, plan. I was trying to write replan. I got that one, okay? Anything else you have to do? You've got to service it. Hire 5 people. Yes, so you've got to get resources. What else? Improve it. I'll put that next to the replanning. Okay. See, what seems to happen is we quite quickly begin to understand the smorgasbord of things we need to do to make any mini activity self-contained. Yeah? And that's exactly the basis for trying to build virtual and flexible structures. There's something you need to do which is around customary bits. Selling to them, marketing to them. There's stuff you need to do around that. There's something you need to do around suppliers, inputs, resources, etc. There's something you need to do around professional services, planning, coordinating, finance, HR. There's something you need to do about improving and getting your core capabilities to work. Yeah, so you're really good at what you do. And then there's a bit about making sure it all fits together and everything is working, and there's a bit of leadership and there's some sort of coordination, and if you're working with other people, meetings and stuff like that. And then somewhere in the middle here, you've got to put the bits together in order to do the money making. Is that fair? That's what you've told me here. Well, that, guys, is the basis for any virtual structure. Those are the bits. If it's a project, you need to make sure that in the project, somewhere or other, you've thought about your stakeholders who are going to live with what you're doing, the stakeholders who are going to input into you. You've got your planning processes and your numbers and your business cases sorted. You're spending the right time with your team, and you've got somebody or some way of delivering that, and you make sure you've got the right capabilities. If you're in a project. If you're in a program, you've got to make sure, are you with me? It's exactly the same. And the reason that we use this is our alternative to having that. That is about control. This is about trying to coordinate activities. My guess is your federal structure in some way is trying to do this. Just a guess. I don't think it's just for 3 or 4 sharp pyramids. I think you're trying to coordinate. I think if we were doing on an HBOS level, then you guys as program people would probably be living in here as one of the core capabilities which need to be delivered. My guess is you've got some sales and marketing type groups up here who are looking. It's just a guess. If we turn that into HBOS. And we've done that for real companies.